good afternoon, and welcome to the class. I hope all of you are in the best of health and spirits. I am Shriti Sharma, and these are my credentials. Hello, Sachin. Um, this is my referral code, Sharmaji. All right, let me just check if I'm properly online and audible or not. Definitely online. Right, and audible as well. Okay. Now, this is the Telegram channel link. And let me just again urge all of you to make sure that you write the CAP scholarship test, which is abhi on the 26th. 26th को है उसके आगे भी है but don't miss the opportunity. अभी 26th को लिख लीजिए. It's at 6 p.m. You have a chance to win scholarships up to 100% if you do well. That means you can take our plus subscriptions for free if you win the scholarship. So the test is helpful. In other aspects also, you get an idea of where you stand in terms of all India ranking, in terms of you know uh, in relation to others in the country. And after the test, you get detailed analysis by top educators. You get video solutions of each question. Gives you a very clear idea of things. उसके अलावा CAT Combat भी लिखना मत भूलिएगा. Again, your CAT Combat every Sunday 12 p.m. Alright guys, तो जैसा कि कल रात को हमने डिस्कस किया था. हेलो चरण्य. अभी हम क्या करेंगे? अभी हम करेंगे रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन एंड वोकैबुलरी. तो आरसी के पहले थोड़ा सा वोकैब रखा है वार्म अप के लिए, क्योंकि डायरेक्ट आरसी शुरू करते हैं तो आई मीन इट टेक्स some students some time to get into the mode, है ना, of reading long passages. तो थोड़ा वार्म अप के लिए वोकैबुलरी से शुरुआत करते हैं और फिर आरसी पे जाएंगे. ऑलराइट, तो देखिए हमारा पहला शब्द है, आपको मीनिंग बताना है फ्रॉम द गिवन ऑप्शंस. हमारा वर्ड है एम्बिग्विटी. अच्छा, वन थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू रिपीट अगेन. कोई भी वर्ड ना उसके नाउन फॉर्म में याद रखना थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है, बट उसके वर्ब या फिर एडजेक्टिव फॉर्म में याद रखना ज़्यादा आसान होता है. ठीक है, क्योंकि एडजेक्टिव फॉर्म में उसका एग्जाम्पल बनाना भी आसान है. एम्बिग्विटी जो है ये एब्स्ट्रैक्ट नाउन है. अगर मैं एम्बिग्विटी से सेंटेंस बनाऊं तो बहुत थोड़ा लंबा सा, ट्विस्टेड सा, कॉम्प्लिकेटेड सेंटेंस बनेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द एम्बिग्विटी ऑफ द क्वेश्चन confused the students. ओके, एम्बिग्विटी ऑफ द क्वेश्चन इस तरह से थोड़ा बनाना पड़ रहा है. वेयर एज अगर आप इसका एडजेक्टिव फॉर्म देखें विच इज एम्बिगुअस, तो आपको जो चीज भी एम्बिगुअस लगती है आप उसके लिए बोल सकते हो. यू नो, द क्वेश्चन वाज एम्बिगुअस, द बुक वाज एम्बिगुअस, हिज थॉट्स वर एम्बिगुअस. तो इट्स इजियर टू मेक सेंटेंसेस एंड रिमेंबर. एम्बिगुअस का मीनिंग क्या होता है? नाउ फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, द रूट एम्बी एज अ रूट मीन्स टू. तो अगेन इफ यू हैव बीन रेगुलर तो आपको मीनिंग पता होगा, काफी बार हमने एम्बिगुअस डिस्कस किया है. तो एम्बी का मतलब होता है टू, एंड एम्बिगुअस इज समथिंग विच कैन हैव मल्टीपल इंटरप्रिटेशंस. आया टू से ही है, विच कैन हैव प्राइमरी मीनिंग होता है विच कैन हैव टू इंटरप्रिटेशंस. तो इस वजह से एम्बिगुअस टर्न्स आउट टू बी समथिंग विच इज अनक्लियर. पहले रूट के थ्रू मैं बता रही थी, बताया भी, बट ओवरऑल सिंपली आपको याद रखना है समथिंग विच इज अनक्लियर. ऑलराइट, इफ देर इज एन एम्बिगुअस क्वेश्चन या फिर एक क्वेश्चन आप कर रहे हो वर्बल रीजनिंग में, आंसर ऑप्शन एम्बिगुअस है, यानी उस आंसर ऑप्शन के शायद दो इंटरप्रिटेशन हो सकते हैं, अनक्लियर है. ऑलराइट, तो फिर आंसर, आई थिंक यू कैन गिव मी द आंसर हियर फ्रॉम द ऑप्शंस. व्हाट वुड बी द आंसर फ्रॉम द गिवन ऑप्शंस? Amateur or beginner status. Now, first of all, ambiguity is lack of clarity. Ambiguous is unclear, so nothing to do with amateur. Now, amateur is somebody who is a beginner, given here itself, or somebody who is not a professional in a field. Maybe they're a beginner, or just that person is not doing, you know, participating in the field as a professional. Maybe they're participating in the field, you know, as somebody who is just into it as a hobby. For example, an amateur guitarist would be a guitarist either who is new, who has just started playing the guitar, or it could also mean somebody who is not a professional guitarist. So that's another meaning of amateur. All right, that's not our answer certainly. हमारा आंसर क्या है? Our answer is, बताइए, what should be the answer from the given options? I have given you the meaning of ambiguous, unclear. So ambiguity, lack of clarity. Which option? Is it B or is it C? All right, Arun, Kumar Arun is saying it should be C. What about the rest of you? What do you think? Nancy is also saying, long time, Nancy. Nancy is also saying it is C. Okay, I'll tell you. I wanted you to think about it because whether you give the right answer or the wrong answer, once you give an answer, you're bound to remember the word. If you get the right answer, you remember it because you attach it to the answer that you had written. Even if you give the wrong answer, you remember it because then your doubt is clarified. So the answer is actually B, uncertainty of meaning and language, because ambiguous is something which is unclear, no? Something which is unclear, so its meaning is not clear. The state of being undecided means to be in a dilemma. The state of being undecided is not able to take a decision. For example, you might not, a student might not be able to decide whether they should do their BBA or should they go for BE. Should I go for BBA? Should I go for BE? That is the state of being undecided. And for that, the word is not ambiguous. For that, the word is ambivalent. When you are in two minds. Have I written behind the green screen now? I'm just checking whether I've written behind the green screen. If so, then I'll write it again. Okay, I've not. So, ambivalent write this down as well. Ambivalent is the state of being undecided. When we are in two minds, oh, should I go for X or should I go for Y? When we are in a dilemma. In dilemma ko kya kehte hain? Kashmakash. All right, when we are in doubt, that's ambivalent. Ambivalent is the person who is undecided. The state is called ambivalence. The noun form is ambivalence and the adjective form is ambivalent. Ambivalence is noun and adjective is ambivalent. Uh, so I was a student might be ambivalent. Should I, maybe let us assume you got great percentile in CAT and ZAT, and you got calls from XLRI and IIM Bangalore, and you're like, I'm not sure which one to go for. I am ambivalent. All right, that's how we use ambivalent, the state of being undecided. If there is a doubt, do write it here. Okay, the second one, I think the remaining words are pretty simple: largeness and size, character and atmosphere. All right. Second is prudent. So, what is the word? What is the meaning of the word prudent? What do you guys think? Give it a shot or take a guess. Prudent. So, I'll write the meaning and then maybe you can give me the option here. So, basically, if you are acting with care and proper thought, or you are showing care and proper thought, usually towards the future or towards any decision, that makes you prudent. Acting with or showing care about the future, hmm, or thought for the future or for any other event about the future or about a decision, all right, or maybe even about a thing like you are prudent with money, so you're very careful. But yes, the answer is okay. Kumar Aryan has given an answer here: cautious. Acting. So, what kind of cautious is it? Prudent. I would like to give you examples as well so that you know when to use this word. So, first write down acting with or showing care and thought about the future or about a decision or about a thing. Acting with or showing care and thought about the future or about a decision or about a thing. Why am I giving the meaning in so much detail? So that, we are in a position that you are in a position to be able to use the word later on. What happens if I simply give you, if I just tell you, oh, for prudent, write down careful. So, of course, you'll understand what careful is, but you might not understand when to use it. In what context would it be more suitable? So, one example you can write is being prudent with money. If you're prudent with your money, then you're doing the right things. Let us say if you earn an income and you're prudent with your money, that means you are investing your money properly, you're saving your money properly, you are spending it, but you're spending it wisely. You're not being rash with your money. That's how we use the word. All right. So you can write in terms of money as an example. Write on the example. I'm just waiting for that. All right. Okay. Now let's come to this one. I would say this is not really that difficult. Judicious. Tell me, what should be the answer? Judicious. I guess most of you would be able to answer this one. Yes, judicious does mean showing good judgment. Showing good judgment is judicious. Showing good judgment. It's again very similar to being prudent, because even when you're judicious, you're not rash. You're showing good judgment, so you're not rash. Rash means reckless. You're not reckless. You're not hasty. Doing things in a hurry and not thinking about things. These are the things you're not if you have good judgment. You're judicious. Very good. Yes, Aman, Aryan, Sachin, all of you got A. Perfect. The D option, being equitable and fair, for that, one of the words is just. I mean, of course, just has another meaning when we say just do it. I was just unhappy. But apart from that, keeping that aside, just also means being fair, being equitable, unbiased, being neutral. Even that is a meaning of just. For example, a judge should be just. And that is where you get the word justice from. Okay. Okay, Tanmay has given an example for prudent. My boss was prudent while setting deadlines for the project. So that if somebody is saying my boss was prudent for setting deadlines, while setting, I'm sorry, deadlines for the project, that would mean that the boss is not giving random deadlines. Oh, this is a project, finish it in 3 days, which is like next to impossible, or one has to work 24 hours to do it. If the boss is prudent, then of course he is giving sufficient time, ideal time for you to finish the project. Perfect. All right, the next one is superfluous. Again, chaliye. So superfluous has a root FLU. Superfluous has a root, and it has one more root, super. Let me see whether yeah, I have more space here to write, so I'll write it here. Superfluous. Now, super is above or over. And flu is flow. FLU as a root, not FLU as the ailment ki flu ho gaya, not that one. As a root, flu is flow and super is above or over. Even if you think about super intelligent, when you say he is super intelligent, she is super intelligent, over intelligent, like, higher degree of intelligence. Superman is like beyond normal man, right? Supergirl is like beyond normal girl. So superfluous is like, if you break it down, it's like overflowing. So when something is superfluous, it's too much, it's overflowing. In the sense, it's more than required, it's excessive. So please write that down, break it down as well, write down the roots and the meanings, and then the meaning of the word of superfluous would be more than required or excessive. All right. Of course, we can discuss other words with FLU, but before that, we will finish off this question. More than required or excessive? So, which one goes with it? Yes, Samreen, you're right. Yes, Aryan. Only two of you have answered. ऐसा क्यों? Yeah, but both of you are right. The answer is more than is necessary. Okay. You see the meaning. The answer is B. You see the meaning B, behaving as though one thinks he or she is superior. For that, the word is supercilious. तो वो भी लिख लीजिए. Supercilious, Cilious. That means supercilious is a person who behaves as though he or she thinks that he or she is superior. Answer is C. Yes. Yes. Priya, Aman, Sachin, correct. At the same time, supercilious भी लिखिए and write down the meaning of supercilious, behaving as though I am superior. If I feel that I'm superior to others, I behave as if I'm superior to others, that means I'm supercilious. Okay. और D देखिए, shallow or lacking depth. For that, the word is superficial. So please write that down as well. And I think now I'm going behind. Is it the green screen? Superficial. Superficial. Oh, yeah, I've gone behind the green screen for D. All right, I hope you're writing everything down, all the new words. Okay. Now, since we discussed this root, super say we got three words right now. As you can see, behaving as though I am superior, supercilious. Lacking depth, just on the surface, superficial. If a person lacks depth of character, depth of feelings, then they're superficial. If, if a person lacks feelings and just shows as if they're feeling sad for somebody, but they're not really feeling sad, then those feelings become superficial. Okay, now the root flu, FLU, means flow. So, what words can we write with that? FLU is flow. So, one is superfluous. Then, what else do we have? We have, of course, this fluid, but I don't think I have to write the meaning. All of you know this. Then we have influx. Influx means inflow. Then we have affluence or affluent. Affluent is somebody who has, in whose life money flows. All right, so affluent is rich, and affluence would be richness or wealth, would be the noun form. Affluence would be noun form of richness. So richness or wealth, affluence. Then there is effluence, which is like liquid or flowing discharge from factories and industries, pollutants, liquid discharge or pollutants, which are discharged from factories and industries are effluents, EFF. Please write these down. Yes, Tanmay. Mellifluous, correct. Wonderful. Mellifluous. So mellifluous is somebody whose voice flows beautifully. So someone who is melodious, who sounds good. Mellifluous is where there's beautiful flow of voice, sound. Mellifluous is melodious. Mellifluous is melodious. Waiting for all of you to write these down. And if you are done writing, you can tell me what would be the answer of the fifth one. Yes, influence also has the same root. Yes. Okay, Aman has given an answer here. Aryan has given an answer. Swahil has given an answer. Perfect. All of you are right. The answer of frugal. The meaning of frugal is economical. Perfect. Very good. I don't have any space left on this particular slide to write. Okay, so yes, what you mentioned, influence also has the same root. You're right, influence has the same root. And apart from these, there's also confluence, which has this root. In fact, even word flux, which I think many of you already know the meaning of flux, when things are in motion, has the same root. I'll write them. Once you have written these down, I'll erase and write. Meanwhile, frugal means economical. So if a person is frugal, that means they spend wisely. So frugal is one who spends wisely, one or one who uses resources wisely, one who thinks before spending, or not just money, even any resource. You can use any resource frugally, that means you are using it wisely, not wasting. All right. One who avoids wastage. Write the entire thing. Like I'm explaining it, you keep writing it down. Because frugal, of course, can be used for money. If you're frugal, you don't just, throw away your money. You're wise with your money. At the same time, you can also be frugal with use of resources. You don't just waste resources. You're wise with them. Most Indians are usually frugal with their resources. I mean, usually we don't, if, for example, if I'm having my lunch and I'm not able to finish it, I don't throw off half the plate. I never do that. I mean, either I try to finish it, I don't take extra on my plate, or if it does happen that I'm not able to finish it, I actually keep it in the fridge and I warm it up later and have it. I just can't think of even throwing it in the dustbin. So we are frugal that ways. Because we have seen people who are hungry. We see people on the streets who don't have any food. So we are more frugal that ways. Whereas if you see the American culture, many people they don't think, they don't even bat an eyelid before throwing their food in the dustbin. So they are not frugal that ways. One should be frugal is something I feel. And that is what economical is. Economical means you are like wise with your spendings. Apart from that, economical can also mean affordable, right? It also means affordable. All right. Now that we have some space, what else can I write with flu? We had written, I think, 6 words. No, what else can we write with FLU? There is also the word confluence. See, FLU is flow and con is coming together, you know. So confluence is basically used. The primary meaning of confluence is rivers coming together. In Hindi, we call it sangam. Sangam jo hota hai, rivers, rivers coming together. That is what a confluence is. That's the primary meaning of confluence. It can be used metaphorically as well. You can use it for other things also, like ideas coming together would be confluence of ideas. Maybe you're watching a show where people are coming up with new ideas. So you can say this television show is a confluence of ideas. Or you went to an event where you met people with from different nationalities, and it was a vibrant event. So the event saw a confluence of people from different countries. So confluence is coming together or flowing together. Primary meaning rivers flowing together, rivers coming together. Sangam. All right. And there is flux also. Flux is like, you know, state of motion. Okay, Aryan is saying, okay, you guys have written things. I did not see it. I'm sorry. Okay, Tanmay has written frugal is prudent with money. Yes, frugal is prudent with money, but like I said, can also be used for prudent with resources. Sachin has given a synonym for frugal, thrifty. That is correct. Thrifty is a synonym. Thrifty also means frugal. Um, Aman has written parsimonious, which is right. Parsimonious is a synonym, though in terms of connotation, frugal and thrifty are like neutral words or positive words. Whereas parsimonious is more in the let me first write it down. It is more in the sense of being a miser. So though parsimonious is taken as a synonym, but it is not the perfect meaning of frugal. I'm miser. Why am I? I have written misery. God knows why. Miser. All right. So the idea is कि parsimonious can be taken as a synonym, पर हमने पहले भी डिस्कस किया है कि synonyms can be, sometimes synonyms are like perfect meanings. जैसे frugal का perfect meaning है thrifty, but parsimonious is just a synonym. It's a similar word क्योंकि parsimonious is more negative. It's more like miserly or miser. Miser means कंजूस, whereas frugal means समझदार in terms of your money, not exactly कंजूस in terms of your money. All right, so that's the difference between the two. तो synonym में similar words हो सकते हैं, but उनमें कुछ ना कुछ difference होता है. All right. Conjuse type Aman would be what? Parsimonious or miser. That would be completely conjuse. Frugal and thrifty is more like wise in terms of spending. Extravagant, Aryan, extravagant is the opposite of frugal. It is the opposite of miser as well, or miserly. Extravagant is one who spends a lot, one who is wasteful. Right, so I think we can write the opposite in the next slide. On the next slide, extravagant would be the opposite. Extravagant is more like wasteful or lavish, characterized by a lot of spending. Like most of the Indian weddings are extravagant. Most of the Indian weddings are lavish, where people spend a lot. All right, so that's what it is. Um, for a person, you can say he is extravagant, she is wasteful. All of that we can say. Apart from that, we can also, for a person, we can say spendthrift. Spendthrift also means one who spends a lot, one who is extravagant, one who is wasteful. All right, spendthrift. Spendthrift also means one who spends a lot. Yes, Samreen, spendthrift, prodigal, correct. Very good. Wonderful. Okay, exotic. Yes, बताइए, what is the meaning of exotic? I missed exotic in the previous one. Exotic. A very common word which all of you have heard of because, of course, there's a song by the name of exotic. Then we have heard of exotic in terms of dishes, food, exotic dish, exotic fruit, exotic beauty. So what does it mean? Tanmay, your sentence of affluence is correct. So he has written the sentence not related to exotic here. The sentence is his affluence comes from different businesses, both legal and illegal. It is correct, of course. And yeah, Exotic is something which is not usually seen, something which is not common. It's special because it's unusual, right? So that's the meaning of exotic. It's special. Like an exotic dish is special because first of all it's good and also it's unusual. Unusual in a positive way. It's a very positive word. Special because it's unusual. It's not usually found where we are. जैसे कि हमारे लिए हम इंडिया में हैं राइट हमारे लिए छोले भटूरे एग्जॉटिक डिश नहीं होगा हमारे लिए ऑफ कोर्स छोले भटूरे अच्छे होते हैं मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल लाइक इट बट हमारे लिए ये कॉमन है अच्छा है बट कॉमन है राइट दैट वुड नॉट बी exotic for us so maybe a continental dish which is not really consumed by a lot of people but it is good would be considered exotic all right it can be used with living beings also तन्मय अभी जैसे प्रियंका चोपड़ा when she goes to Hollywood she is considered exotic there right I mean she is of course she is good but हमारे लिए she is good she is beautiful for us right but we'll not say exotic because most many people in India are like that but when she goes to Hollywood then she is beautiful she is good and she is different from them so she becomes an exotic beauty so it can be used for people as well yes avocado can be an exotic fruit for us. All right, moving on to tenacious. And Rajat has given an answer for the sixth one. Yeah, tenacious is somebody who keeps on going, right? Doesn't give up. So you're right. The answer is E, unwilling to give up. Correct. Tenacious is not willing to give up. Synonym would be stubborn, but tenacious is a positive word. It's a good thing. Like you don't give up. You keep on trying. That makes you tenacious. And is this the last one? Oh no, it's not. Okay. बताइए. The other things are easy here in the sixth one, so I'm not discussing them. Seventh बताइए. Impute. Yes, Aman. Persistent is correct. Persistent is also somebody who just keeps on going, keeps on persisting. Right. Impute का बताइए. Swahil, bizarre नहीं होगा. Bizarre is a negative word. Bizarre is also uh, strange and weird, but it would not be the synonym of exotic because exotic is a very positive word. It's always a compliment, whereas bizarre is a negative word. It's a negative comment. That's why we would not keep bizarre there. All right. Yes. Impute का मतलब होता है to blame, or to attribute something wrong to somebody. Okay, so impute is to blame. Correct. Blame or attribute. Attribute का मतलब होता है uh, to give the credit of some actions to somebody. But uh, when it's impute, so the credit of that action would be a negative action and a negative credit. For example, mm, most of the crimes during Hitler's reign, REIGN, were attributed to the Nazis. Most of the crimes during Hitler's reign, REIGN, which means rule, period of rule, were attributed to the Nazis. That means the credit, though credit sounds like a positive word, but अभी explain करने के लिए मैं कह रही हूँ, the credit of those crimes was given to the Nazis कि Nazis ने ये crimes किए. So they were blamed for the crimes and they actually did those crimes, right? So, so that's what impute is. All right, please write the sentence as an example. Attributed to the Nazis. Waiting for you to write it down. पूरा sentence लिखिए. Yes, attribute is neutral, but impute is more negative. इसीलिए मैंने पूरा सेंटेंस दिया कि केवल attribute लिखा के छोड़ देते और attribute का मीनिंग बताते to give the credit of someone to something. तो to give the credit of something to someone, I'm sorry, ये बता के छोड़ देते और लिख देते यहाँ पे. तो आप शायद इसको पॉजिटिव सेंस में भी यूज कर लेते, which should not have been really right. Impute is more negative. अमन, आपने जो लिखा है imputiny is not a word. Imputiny कोई word नहीं है. Uh, it's not a word. Tiny. Impute is a word. Imputiny is not a word. Maybe you are thinking of impunity. एकदम ही अलग word है impunity. वो impute से related नहीं है. ये एक अलग word है impunity. एकदम ही अलग word है. Okay. Not related to impute at all. Actually, impunity हमने reading comprehension में discuss किया था कि many people feel that they can commit any crime and get away with it. So they commit crimes with impunity, which so impunity का मतलब होता है कि you do something wrong and you're not even punished for it. So that's impunity, which is a completely different word, not related to impute at all. Right. Aryan, that is what I was saying कि attribute is actually a neutral word. Attribute neutral है, credit positive है, but ये impute जो लिखा है ना, ये negative context में use होता है. इसीलिए मैंने example दिया ताकि आपको confusion ना रहे कि attribute है तो क्या positive हो जाएगा. नहीं, impute is not positive. Meaning में इससे बेहतर कोई word नहीं था ना attribute से बेहतर, तो इसलिए लिखना पड़ा. Attribute is neutral, but in this context it's negative. All right, चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Haughty, Haughty. Haughty is somebody who thinks that they are superior to others. All right. तो बताइए what should be the answer? One who thinks that they are superior to others? Yes, Samreen. B. Correct. Yeah. Arrogantly superior. Okay, Sachin, you're saying what is the meaning of peace? आपको peace कहीं दिखा क्या? Peace यहाँ पे word दिया नहीं है. Peace तो शांति होती है. Peace is शांति. But word यहाँ दिया नहीं है. यहाँ पे pierce दिया है. Pierce. Pierce is like to make a hole. जैसे होता है ना ear piercing कहते हैं ना कान में, to make a hole in the ear and you can wear a ring or whatever you want to wear there. Or some people get their nose pierced and different parts of their bodies. So pierce is like making a hole somewhere. है ना? और peace का मतलब होता है शांति, right? Okay, haughty, I think, did everybody get this? Eighth one? B, perfect. Samreen, Rajat, Aryan, Swahil, Sachin, correct. Arrogantly superior. So it's a negative word. Okay, it's a negative word. Because meaning भी देखिए ना, arrogantly superior. Arrogant is negative. Clairvoyant, I think 2-3 days back we did this in the 11 p.m. class is what I remember. And किसी ने तो आंसर दिया है. किसने दिया है? रजत ने आंसर दिया है. Okay, तन्मय ने supercilious बताया haughty के लिए Haughty, that's right. Correct. Ninth का Samreen ने भी आंसर दिया है. Correct. Ninth is D. A person who claims to be able to predict the future. हम actually क्या क्या पढ़ रहे थे हम? 4C आया था उसमें. And that's when I mentioned the synonym also. Foresee is to be able to see the future, to be able to predict the future. So, yeah, foresee is the action of predicting the future. Clairvoyant is the person who claims to be able to predict the future. जिसको future दिखे is clairvoyant. Correct. प्रिंस, ये क्लास आप देख रहे हैं, पे नहीं कर रहे हैं तो ऑफ कोर्स फ्री है. Yes, it's conducted at 2 p.m. and at 11 p.m. आज 11 p.m. नहीं है, सैटरडे को. संडे को भी 11 p.m. नहीं है, कल 2 p.m. ही है. Otherwise, Monday, on the weekdays, it's 2 p.m. and 11 p.m. Yes, oracle is also a synonym for clairvoyant. Oracle is also somebody who can tell us about the future, right? Can see the future. Perfect. और ये हमारा last word, then we come to read and comprehension. Anachronism. Now, before you try it out, this root CHRON, this relates to time. जैसे हम कहते हैं ना chronological order. ये बहुत common word है when we talk about chronological order. You know, the events were presented in chronological order, so this means in order of time, in order of, you know, when did that happen? Like maybe something happened in 1850, then 1890, then 1920, then 1950. So that is chronological order, in order of happening in terms of time. So chrono is like chrono is time. फिर हम कहते हैं chronic ailment, chronic बीमारी. So chronic ailment या chronic बीमारी क्या होता है? Something which is long lasting, right? कुछ लोगों को chronic cough होता है तो हमेशा उनको खांसी रहती है. So chronic is long lasting. Chronic ailment is an ailment which goes on for a long period of time, relates to time. तो प्रिंस, यहाँ पे नेक्रोमांसी कहाँ से आया? ये तो रिलेटेड ही नहीं है. यहाँ पे था क्या? I don't see it's here, but yeah, necromancy is a completely different word, not related to anything that we are doing. Necromancy, mania होता है craziness for something. Necro relates to dead bodies and death. So necromancy is love for dead bodies, you know, obsession with dead bodies. Okay. Necromancy में black magic भी आता है, which involves dead bodies and bringing back the dead to life. वो सब पूरा involved होता है उसमें. Okay, coming back, anachronism हम discuss कर रहे थे. आप लोगों ने क्या बताया? Rajat is saying C, Swahil is saying C, Samreen is saying C, Aman is saying C. Yes, you guys are right. Something that is out of place in terms of time is an anachronism. Something that is out of place in terms of time. Very good. Something that is out of place in terms of time. Is anachronism. All of you think of examples for this. Out of place in terms of time could be something like, example आप बताइएगा, मैं एक broad आपको framework दे रही हूँ कि आज के ज़माने में somebody comes from the 1920s, तो for them everything would be anachronism, for us they would be anachronistic. But उस समय से अभी आने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं है. ऑलराइट, उस समय से अभी तक आने की ज़रूरत नहीं. एनाक्रोनिस्टिक लगेगी, पर उन लोगों को आप एनाक्रोनिस्टिक लगेंगे क्योंकि उनके अनुसार वही सही है. ऑलराइट. Okay, Tanmay ka notorious and impute pe, let's see. The notorious group was imputed, blamed for marring the buses. Yes, Tanmay, your sentence is right. Ha, wearing sweatshirts in Mughal era would have been an act of anachronism. It would have seemed anachronistic, correct. मुगलों के ज़माने में sweatshirt और shorts पहन के जाएंगे तो वो anachronistic लगेगा. So out of place in terms of time. समरीन, इट्स एंटीक्वेटेड या एंटीडिलुवियन नहीं लिखेंगे यहाँ पे क्योंकि एंटीक्वेटेड एंड एंटीडिलुवियन इज एंशियंट. तो आप एनाक्रोनिज्म में फिर अज्यूम कर रहे हो कि जो बहुत पुराना है वही, पर ऐसा नहीं है. बहुत पुराने ख्यालात के लोगों के पास अगर आप चले जाएं एंड योर थिंकिंग इज मॉडर्न, तो उनके हिसाब से आप एनाक्रोनिस्टिक हो जाएंगे, समझे? इसलिए हम एंटीडिलुवियन ये सब नहीं लिख रहे हैं यहाँ पे। और हमारे हिसाब से ऑफ कोर्स, आपके हिसाब से, इफ योर थिंकिंग इज मॉडर्न, इफ यू आर यू नो इफ यू आर इन विद द टाइम्स, तो आपके हिसाब से जो एंशियंट है वो एनाक्रोनिस्टिक होगा, बट आपके हिसाब से दैट्स व्हाट आई हैव बीन सेइंग, सो इट्स काइंड ऑफ रिलेटिव, है ना। बहुत जगह एंशियंट फिट होता है, मे बी वी कैन टॉक अबाउट व्हाट्स हैपनिंग इन अफगानिस्तान with the overtake of Taliban now. Many things that they're doing, their thought processes, uh, that's anachronistic. And at the same time, you can say it's antediluvian. I mean, ये किस जमाने का ये thought process है, इस तरह से हो सकता है, context में based. All right, now we come to, I think, done with all the words. No? Yeah. Okay, now we come to what? We come to read and comprehension. RC करेंगे आज, क्योंकि आरसी सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है। आई मीन इफ यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर एनी ऑफ द मैनेजमेंट एंट्रेंस टेस्ट, आरसी इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट सेक्शन। पैसेज का लेंथ देखिए, स्लाइड 1। इज एनीथिंग मिसिंग हियर? लेट मी सी इफ एनीथिंग इज गोइंग बिहाइंड द स्क्रीन। अ बिट ऑफ इट, नहीं नहीं नहीं, इट्स नॉट। विस्की तक है। हुकर, हुकर के बाद है वॉज नोन। वेयर डू आई राइट दिस? HOOK, इट्स दिस। और कुछ ऐसा है जो नहीं दिख रहा है? एस्पेक्ट ऑफ द एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर। विस्की के बाद कुछ है नहीं, दैट इज वेयर देयर इज अ फुल स्टॉप आफ्टर विस्की। नेक्स्ट देख लेते हैं। आई विल गिव यू टाइम टू रीड, आई एम फर्स्ट चेकिंग लाइक इफ देयर इज एनीथिंग दैट्स नॉट विजिबल। Eventually, आप सबको, all of you need to remember this, whether you like RC or you don't, even if you find it boring, this is the kind of question type where you need to focus the most on. Entire cat English is RC. Okay, so I think everything is visible here, but let's take a look at the types of questions. Based on info in the passage, it can be concluded that Hooker lost the battle mostly because of his. So, ये बहुत ही, it looks like a factual question where you can simply, after skimming through the passage, reading it quickly, for question 1, you can go back to the portion where this part might be given. So, it's a very factual one. Second is inferential. The contrast between Lee and Hooker in para 2 is intended to. So, what's the reason to present this contrast? Reason to present this contrast is intended to. So, what's the purpose of presenting this contrast? Similar. Okay, after similar, similar के बाद लिखा है positions of power. It's an inferential question. Uh, oh, actually, I've repeated it here because it was not visible here. यही है. 2 मैंने यहाँ भी डाल दिया था, yes. 2 ही है वो. So I think I can cut this out. I'll just go to that part and you can attempt this. But there are 5 options. Okay, question 3. In para 3, the author quotes Hooker as saying, "My plans are perfect, and when I start to carry them out, may God have mercy on Bobby Lee, for I have none." For here means because. I shouldn't cut it. It's actually correct. For is like because. Hmm. The author most likely includes this quote in order to, again, it's an inference question. Why did the author introduce this quote? Uh, hated. Okay, hated ke baad was compelled by his hatred of Lee. It should be hatred of Lee. Who was compelled by his hatred of Lee. All right. Based on para 3, it can be inferred that the word propensity belongs to which of the following groups? All right. So that's quite a lot of vocabulary here, because even if you are able to figure out the meaning from the context, still you need to know the meanings of these, no, to be able to put it in a group. How many men did Hooker position? It's very factual. You can just go and check. In para 4, Boyd most nearly means, as per the passage, what does it mean? Okay. According to the author, Hooker's advantages going into the battle included numbers, position, strategy. Okay. As used in para 4, Boyd means, abhi to kiya. Oh, this is a Typing mistake, yes. It can't be this. No, 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 it's not Boyd. It's para 4 has something else, I guess. दो बार Boyd है क्या? नहीं. No, the previous one is correct. In this if this passage were to continue, which of the following would likely be the first sentence of next para? I think when we come to this, and if you're not able to read certain parts, I will read them out and I'll write them then only. First, let's try out the other questions. Then we'll look at the last one. The last one can be a bit time taking. ठीक है? So you guys have to go through the passage. If there's while going through it, if something is not clear, let me know. ठीक है? पहले पढ़िए, फिर मैं loudly पढ़ लूंगी या कुछ भी clear ना हो तो यहाँ लिखिएगा. Of course, if some meaning is not clear but it relates to an answer, तो वो मैं अभी discuss नहीं करूँगी because I want to give you a chance of answering them. No? I am guessing all of you must have read this by now. So the first slide is about, of course, the entire passage is about the Battle of Chancellorsville, one of the most famous battles of Civil War took place in Virginia in spring of 1863. ये पूरा fact है. For months, the two armies had been staked on opposite banks. The Confederate troops were led by the most revered military tacticians. Revered is respected, honored. तो पॉजिटिव कहा जा रहा है. जनरल रॉबर्ट ई ली के लिए पॉजिटिव कहा है ऑथर ने. एंड द यूनियन सोल्जर्स वर लेड बाय फाइटिंग जो हुकर. In appearance, personality, lifestyle, these men were opposites. Lee, an older man in poor health with grey beard, had a somber, measured demeanor. Somber is more like serious or sad. Demeanor is basically your personality is your demeanor. So it आपका जो जनरल बॉडी लैंग्वेज एंड फेशियल एक्सप्रेशंस होता है ना, जनरल नॉट जस्ट राइट नाउ, जनरल आपका जो बॉडी लैंग्वेज एंड फेशियल एक्सप्रेशंस होता है, दैट मेक्स योर डेमिनो. ऑलराइट, दैट्स व्हाट योर डेमिनो इज. सो दिस गाय हैड अ मेजर्ड डेमिनो, मतलब ही वाज नॉट वेरी फ्लैम्बॉयंट. मेजर्ड मतलब बहुत ही कंट्रोल्ड. और हुकर वाज blonde, right? Strapping young man. Strapping is like robust, healthy, ठीक है? Whose vanity over his appearance. So he was very proud of his looks. Was but one aspect of his egotism. तो कह रहा है कि उसका vanity over his appearance, his pride over his looks was वो बस एक aspect था उसके egotism का. मतलब there were many other aspects as well. The author has already called this guy egotist, which is a negative word. Whereas Lee was devout and principled. Principled आप समझते हैं. Devout is somebody who is devoted to, devoted to maybe a religion, maybe spirituality. Hooker was known for his rollicking enjoyment of both women and whiskey. So it's very clear, the contrast is very clear here. तब में नहीं, reverie आपने जो लिखा है REVERIE is not the noun form of. तो author कह रहा है कि Confederacy had won the last four major battles, and the Union soldiers under this Hooker guy, they were hungry, they were tired, they were demoralized. फिर भी, this guy proclaimed that my plans are perfect, and when I start to carry them out, may God have mercy on Bobby Lee. And then our author, who has written the passage, is asking, क्यों? Aside from propensity for narcissism, why was he so confident? So author has asked why was he so confident aside for the fact that he was a narcissist. So author has given half the reason. Author is calling him a narcissist. Propensity का meaning आपको figure out करना है. Narcissism क्या होता है? Narcissism is extreme vanity, extreme love for oneself, but in a negative way. It's not positive self-love. It's negative. It's thinking कि हम ही हैं. The entire world revolves around me. I am the most important. I am the most handsome. So that is narcissism. Thinking that. So ये बंदा narcissist था, is what the author is saying. Hooker had used spies, analysts, even hot air balloons to gather a vast amount of intelligence about Lee's army. He had discerned, for example, discerned is he had figured out that Lee had only 61,000 men to Hooker's 134,000. Buoyed by his superior numbers, तो इसको लगा रहे हैं हमारे numbers अच्छे हैं. By his superior numbers, Hooker covertly moved 70,000 of his men 15 miles up and across the river, and then ordered them to sneak back down to position themselves behind Lee's army. In effect, Hooker had cut off the Confederate soldiers in front and behind. They were trapped. Satisfied with his advantage, he became convinced that Lee's only option was to retreat to Richmond, thus assuring a Union victory. Covertly, I think we did a couple of days back. Covertly is secretively, in a secret manner, right? Secretively, लिख लीजिएगा, in a secret way or secret manner. And retreat is to go back. I don't think I have space here to write. Retreat is to go back. Okay? I hope you're writing the words also. Very important. Generally very important. Last slide आप पढ़ लीजिए. I guess all of you must have read this. Who finally won the battle? Lee won the battle clearly. और शुरुआत से दिख रहा है तो the author is supporting Lee. है ना? फिर बता रहे हैं how did they win the battle towards in the last paragraph that's elaborated on. Is there any part of the passage that's not clear? Let's try out the question. Based on the information in the passage, it can be concluded that Hooker lost the Battle of Chancellorsville mostly because of his. lost the battle. For which reason? I mean, he was vain, he was ignorant, he was overconfident, everything he was. But what was the main reason why he lost the battle is what you have to answer. Very good. Yes. Overconfidence was the main reason. Perfect. Perfect. Very good. Wonderful. Acha, by the way, vanity तो हमने discuss किया, excessive pride, right, in oneself, especially excessive pride in one's appearance is vanity. What is the meaning of ignorance? Can you guys tell me what is the meaning of ignorance? There's a reason why I'm waiting for your answer for the meaning of ignorance because again many people misunderstand the meaning. इसलिए मैं पूछ रही हूँ ignorance क्या होता है. Okay, I'm gonna saying facts पर ध्यान न देना is ignorance. All right. Yeah, one who doesn't know is what Tanmay is saying. Yes. Reason पूछने का ये है कि ignore और ignorance को mix up मत कीजिएगा. Ignore होता है avoid करना, right? But ignorance होता है lack of knowledge या फिर lack of awareness. है ही नहीं. Ignorance है मतलब पता ही नहीं. Lack of knowledge or lack of awareness. So please write it down. Of course, ignore is to avoid, not pay attention, but ignorance is lack of knowledge, lack of awareness. Waiting for you guys to write it down. Lack of, क्योंकि this is a common topic that comes in essay writing also. Ignorance is bliss, bliss is happiness. So why is ignorance bliss, right? Vanity, I hope आपने लिख लिया है. Excessive pride in oneself, negative word. Overconfidence आपको पता है. Vices are just bad traits, bad characteristics. गलत चीजें जो होता है, bad habit. अब bad habits actually vices लिखा है ना, bad habits. All right, moving on. The contrast between Lee and Hooker in paragraph 2 is intended to. तो पहले आप options देख लीजिए. Showcase the different backgrounds and personal histories of these two enemy soldiers. Background and personal history बताया है क्या? थोड़ा check this out. Provide support for the idea that Lee was more of a virtuous person than Hooker and therefore a better military commander. तो बी कह रहा है कि कॉन्ट्रास्ट इसलिए दिखाया गया बिकॉज द ऑथर इज ट्राइंग टू से कि जो ज़्यादा वर्चुअस है यानी जिसमें गुड हैबिट ज़्यादा हैं वो बेहतर कमांडर होगा. इस आइडिया को सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. He is saying prove that two men with very different values could end up in similar position. Is the author trying to show that they ended up in similar position in spite of the fact that they had different values? D is saying suggest that if Hooker had been more devout and principled, he might not have been outwitted by Lee. And E is saying imply that these men fundamentally differed in their approaches to nearly everything, including battle. So these are the options. If you need me to go back to that particular paragraph, do let me know. Look at the options. If you need me to go back, so bataiye, then I'll go back. There is A, B, C, and then there are D and E also. All right, I see a variety of answers here. You must have seen all the options. Let me take you back and get got an idea of all the options. All right. Now let me take you back to para 2. What's happening in para 2? This is it. In appearance, personality, and lifestyle, these men, in appearance, how they looked, their personality, and their lifestyle, these men were nearly perfect opposites. Lee was older, poor health, grey beard, somber, measured demeanor. Hooker was blonde, strapping young man whose vanity over his appearance was but one aspect of his egotism. Whereas Lee was devout and principled, Hooker was known for his enjoyment of women and whiskey. So we just have to look at this part, the second para, and figure out our answer from this. Okay, this is the second para. I'm sure everybody must have looked at it by now. Showcase the different backgrounds and personal histories. No, personal history is not mentioned, background is not mentioned. What is mentioned is personality, demeanor, I guess, right? And lifestyle. So one is gone. B. Provide support for the idea that Lee was a more virtuous person and therefore better military commander. That would mean that the author is presenting the idea that a more virtuous person will make a better commander. Author ने ऐसा कहीं claim नहीं किया है कि if you are more virtuous that makes you a better commander. उसने simply contrast दिखाया है कि दोनों कितने I'm sorry कहाँ गया कि दोनों कितने अलग हैं. बस ये contrast दिखाया है वहाँ पे. क्योंकि क्वेश्चन भी है पैरा 2 में जो कॉन्ट्रास्ट दिखाया है उसका क्या इंटेंशन है तो शो हाउ डिफरेंट दे आर राइट फिर लिखा है प्रूव दैट टू men with very different values could end up in similar positions of power well the author is not trying to show us that passage का ये पॉइंट ही नहीं है कि people from different backgrounds can hold same positions of power वो पॉइंट ही नहीं है और सेकेंडली ये question doesn't relate to the entire passage this question only relates to para 2 so it cannot be C अ, किसी दूसरे पैसेज का ये पॉइंट हो सकता था कि पीपल फ्रॉम डिफरेंट बैकग्राउंड्स और पीपल विद डिफरेंट वैल्यू सिस्टम कैन हैव द सेम पोजीशन इन लाइफ बट इसका ना ये सेंट्रल आइडिया ना ये सेकंड पैरा का पॉइंट है ही सजेस्ट दैट इफ हुकर हैड बीन मोर प्रिंसिपल्ड और डिवाउट यानी कि डिवोटेड टू गॉड एंड रिलीजन he might have outsmarted outwitted is like to outsmart to beat someone to intelligence ऑथर ये कह रहा है क्या कि वो ज़्यादा भगवान में विश्वास करता तो वो अपने इंटेलिजेंस के थ्रू बीट कर देता नो दैट्स नॉट समथिंग द ऑथर इज क्लेमिंग एट ऑल नो नथिंग रिलेटेड टू ही इज जस्ट टेलिंग अस कि हाँ ली वाज मोर ऑफ अ डिवाउट पर्सन बट इसका ये कहीं सपोर्ट नहीं किया कि स्पिरिचुअलिटी या रिलीजन में विश्वास करा तो इसलिए वो ज़्यादा स्मार्ट बना तो योर आंसर इज ई इम्प्लाई दैट दीज मेन वो फंडामेंटली डिफर्ड इन एवरीथिंग इंक्लूडिंग द बैटल ये इम्प्लीकेशन था सेकंड पैरा का कॉन्ट्रास्ट दिखाना था दैट्स इट author had to show the contrast, how different they are from each other. So the answer is E, elephant. Yes, Aman, Sachin. Okay, next देखते हैं. In paragraph, I'm sorry. In paragraph 3, the author quotes Hooker as saying, "My plans are perfect, and when I start to carry them out, because I'll have none." The author includes this quote in order to show what? Option A, demonstrate Hooker's belief in his own infallibility. इनफॉलिबिलिटी का मतलब होता है कि आई कांट फॉल आई कांट बी रॉन्ग ये मतलब है इसका प्रोवाइड एग्जाम्पल ऑफ द वे लैंग्वेज हैज चेंज सिंस 1863 reveal that Hooker was a deeply religious man in spite of his lifestyle foreshadow Hooker's defeat at the hands of Lee's army portray Hooker as a merciless general who was compelled forced by his hatred of Lee तो इस कोट के थ्रू ऑथर क्या दिखा रहा है should relate to the passage पैरा 3 आप देख लीजिए पूरे पैरा 3 में क्या लिखा है यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी लिखा है ये कोड तो यहाँ आता है ना माई प्लान्स यहाँ आता है बट पूरे पैरा को देखो पैरा 3 को डिस्पाइट द फैक्ट दैट कॉन्फेडरेसी had won the last major battles and Union soldiers were famished, exhausted, demoralized. मतलब एक तरह से ये यूनियन सोल्जर्स हार चुके थे फिर भी होकर बोलता है कि माई प्लान्स आर परफेक्ट व्हेन आई स्टार्ट टू कैरी देम आउट ब्ला 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 फिर ऑथर भी बोल रहा है कि अरे ऐसा क्यों बोला होकर इतना कॉन्फिडेंट क्यों था मतलब ये क्या है, वो तो ऑलमोस्ट हार ही चुके थे। राइट, तो क्या दिखाना चाहता है, यही दिखाना चाहता है कि भाई हुकर को लगता था कि हम ही सबसे बेहतर हैं, हम हारेंगे ही नहीं, बस यही दिखाना चाह रहा है। यस, ऑल ऑफ यू गॉट इट राइट। तन्मय, अमन, प्रिया, स्वाहिल, सचिन, करेक्ट, इट्स ए। लैंग्वेज से तो रिलेटेड है ही नहीं पैसेज, so it cannot be B. He was a religious man. How do we know that? I guess he was not, as per the passage. Foreshadow his defeat at the hands? No, it's not really foreshadowing his defeat. That sentence is not foreshadowing, showing that his defeat will happen. That sentence is not showing that defeat will happen. उसके पहले दिखा दिया है कि defeat will happen. Portray him as a merciless general. We don't, नहीं, इस sentence से ये नहीं पता चल रहा है कि वो cruel है ना? इस sentence से ये पता चल रहा है कि वो over confident है. Yeah, overconfident is when one thinks they're infallible, that also shows if they are overconfident. You already got the right answer. एक question में आपने overconfidence mark किया था ना, उससे ये infallibility relate हो रहा है. The questions are in, actually ये चीज भी आप ध्यान रख सकते हो. Your answers, many questions are related to each other in RC because they are from. आया क्या? I can't see. Oh, it's still lagging at my end. You guys are saying it's back, so I will start teaching. But I still, it's like it's still buffering. Is it really back? Oh yeah, it is back. Yes. Fourth का था D. Delta was the answer. Fifth was, I was saying I was actually speaking. I did not earlier see that things are lagging and buffering. So fifth का बहुत ही factual question है. आपको बस you just need to go back to that part and answer. How many men did Hooker position behind Lee's army? बस उस part पे जाना है, number देखना है और answer करना है. तो बताइए क्या है? Rajat has given an answer here. Look at the numbers. और यहाँ पे Boyd का usage भी देख लीजिए because I guess अभी Boyd पे भी question आएगा. Boyd, by his superior numbers, Hooker covertly moved 70,000 of his men 15 miles up and across the river, then ordered them to sneak back down to position themselves behind Lee's army. So your answer is 70,000. And Boyd, by his superior numbers. तो वो भी आपको देखना है. All right. तो यहाँ पे आंसर क्या बताया आपने? Answer both of them. 5 and 6. Both are coming from the same portion. 5 का क्या आंसर? 5 में भी I see some variety here. C भी आ रहा है और B भी आ रहा है. तो what is the correct one? देखिए यहाँ लिखा है ना 70,000, 70,000, 70. So yeah, B is correct. अरे C कैसे? Where did you see 73? 70 ना? Okay. Uh, the next one, sixth one, I see two of you are saying it's A, strengthened. Is that the correct answer? Strengthened. What is the meaning of floated का मतलब सबको पता है. What is the meaning of anchored? What is the meaning of heartened? क्योंकि floated and sharpened and strengthened, I'm sure all of you know. So tell me what are the meanings of heartened and anchored? Okay, anchor you're saying is support type. Kind of, yes. Kind of. Anchor हम कब use करते हैं? Even in terms of boats, in terms of ships, we use करते हैं, but then वहाँ पे definitely it becomes a noun, right? As a verb, it means yeah, जो आपने लिखा है firmly supported या फिर to firmly fix something. जैसे बोट्स को जब आप एंकर कर देते हो आप फिक्स कर देते हो उसको, राइट? एक रस्सी लेके आप उसको फिक्स कर देते हो टू द शोर, ताकि वो बीच में तैर के निकल ना जाए. दैट इज एंकर, टू फिक्स समथिंग. प्रेजेंट का मतलब पता है आपको. हार्टेंड का मतलब क्या है? हार्टेंड. या फिर प्रेजेंट टेंस में बताइए, हार्टन का मतलब क्या होगा? फेथफुल आपने किसके लिए लिखा है? फॉर विच वन हैज यू रिटन दैट? I don't see any word which can match with faithful here, no? Not really. Heartened ka nobody is telling me the meaning. All right. Heartened ka, of course, one meaning is to, if I say I was heartened, that means I was glad, I was happy. All right. It also means encouraged. So one of the meanings of heartened is encouraged. ये भी एक meaning होता है. It also means made happier, another meaning, plus encouraged. तो यहाँ पे ये जो है buoyed by his superior numbers, तो he was encouraged by his superior numbers, ना? ये और उसको courage आ गया क्योंकि उसके numbers superior थे, तो हम ये कर सकते हैं. तो strengthened से बेहतर option यहाँ पे है heartened. The answer is B. With the meaning of encouraged, not with the meaning of made happier, not with the second meaning, with the first meaning. Floated भी किसी ने लिखा है. देखिए, आपको context में देखना है. Buoyed का, of course, I mean physics के terms में हमने जब buoyancy पढ़ा था, तो it is the upward force that helps the body stay afloat. उस तरह से ये floated से relate हो रहा है. But यहाँ पे वो बंदा जो है, hooker, he is not really floating anywhere, no, above the surface. उस context में नहीं है, इस passage में नहीं है, तो इसलिए सी नहीं होगा. डिक्शनरी मीनिंग का डायरेक्ट नहीं देखना है ना. बॉयड के मल्टीपल मीनिंग्स होते हैं. बॉयड इन स्पिरिट्स भी होता है. एक मीनिंग बॉयड का चियर्ड भी होता है. तो यहाँ पे चियर्ड नहीं है कि चियरफुल हो गए. यहाँ पे फ्लोटिंग से भी रिलेटेड नहीं है, अफ्लोट से रिलेटेड नहीं है. यहाँ पे एनकरेज्ड से रिलेटेड है. ही गॉट मोर करेज टू डू समथिंग. सो द आंसर वाज हार्टन्ड. ओके, सेवेंथ का आंसर बताइए. चलिए, सेवेंथ का आंसर बताइए. सेवेंथ इज ऑल्सो वेरी फैक्चुअल वन. तो अभी मैं आंसर ही आपको बता दूंगी, whether your answers are right or not. पर वापस नहीं जाएंगे अभी. आप बाद में वीडियो चेक करके वापस जाके देख सकते हो ना, पॉज करके. सेवेंथ का आंसर है सी. सी इज द आंसर. ऑलराइट. स्ट्रैटेजी तो उसकी सही नहीं निकली, है ना. नंबर्स था. अभी तो हमने किया बॉयड बाय हिज नंबर्स. नंबर्स तो उसके ज्यादा थे. and the position that they are taken that became a strength. So the answer is C. And the last one, क्योंकि 8th मैंने हटा दिया है, 8th में कुछ typo था. The last one. ये attempt कर लीजिए. If this passage were to continue, which of the following would most likely be the first sentence of the next para? So for that, you need to look at the last para. थोड़ा सा आपको देखना पड़ेगा. What's the last para here? The last para is this. Yet Lee, despite his disadvantages, did not go back. Instead, he moved his troops into position to attack. Union soldiers who tried to warn Hooker that Lee was on the offensive were dismissed as cowards. Having become convinced that Lee had no choice but to go back, Hooker began to ignore reality. When Lee's army attacked the Union soldiers at 5 p.m., they were eating supper completely unprepared. They abandoned their rifles, fled as Lee's troops came shrieking out of the bush, not brush, bayonets drawn. Against all odds, Lee won the battle and Hooker's forces withdrew in defeat. तो इसके बाद क्या आता है आपको ये बताना है, ठीक है? बहुत सिंपल है, आई थिंक रिक्वायर्स नो एक्सप्लेनेशन देयर. इसके बाद अगर इफ द पैसेज कंटिन्यूज तो क्या आएगा? और ये देख लो, which of the following would most likely be the first sentence of the next para? हाँ, Saurav, I guess you just joined क्या? And also dark light. ये D आंसर नहीं होगा. The ones who have been through this passage, आप लोगों को समझ आएगा. देखिए, upon returning to camp, the triumphant is victorious, immediately ordered for supplies to be brought up and provisions made for raucous celebration. ली के लिए बताया गया है ना कि वो डिवाउट था, बहुत सोबर टाइप का इंसान है, तो वो रॉकस सेलिब्रेशन जो होता है, रॉकस इज लाइक वाइल्ड सेलिब्रेशन, नॉइजी, वाइल्ड, इमोरल, उस तरह की जो पार्टी होती है उसको रॉकस कहते हैं. अनएथिकल टाइप की पार्टी, वाइल्ड हो, इमोरल हो. ली वुड नॉट गो फॉर सच अ पार्टी. ली का कैरेक्टर कुछ अलग तरीके का दिखाया गया है कि थोड़ा डिवोटेड टाइप का इंसान है, यू नो, रिलीजियस, स्पिरिचुअल, मेजर्ड. इसलिए डी आंसर बिल्कुल नहीं होगा. आपको, यू नो, हाउ वुड यू फिगर आउट द आंसर? यू ऑल्सो हैव टू सी कि इज इट गोइंग विद द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स डिस्कस्ड और नॉट? बी क्यों नहीं होगा? In all his days of fighting, Hooker had never been met with such surprise and opposition. यहाँ तक ठीक है. He took to serious thinking of the events that had happened, as well as the lessons he might learn. ऐसा लिखा है कि वो नार्सिसिस्ट था, तो वो कोई लेसन्स नहीं सीखेगा, वो अपने आप को हमेशा सही और सुपीरियर ही मानेगा. दैट्स द ट्रेट ऑफ अ नार्सिसिस्ट. उसके लिए बताया गया है उस बंदे के लिए कि वो बहुत ही अपने ही गुरूर में रहता था, तो वो लेसन सीख के उसके बारे में सोचना कि हमको सीख मिली, वो उस तरह का इंसान है ही नहीं. तो बी भी नहीं होगा. So beta is eliminated. All right. Delta is eliminated. आप लोगों में जिन्होंने पैसेज पढ़ा है, यू शुड डेफिनेटली गिव इट अ ट्राई. व्हाई वेट फॉर माय आंसर? आप लोग बताइए ना. बी और डी क्यों नहीं होगा मैंने बताया. एंड दीज थिंग्स यू हैव टू यूज लेटर ऑन फॉर आरसी एज वेल. ए, सी और ई में क्या होना चाहिए? ए देखिए, his army routed, Hooker and his reduced forces hobbled south, back to the center of the Confederate operations, where he was harshly rebuked for having squandered his army. Why Confederate operations? Confederation तो उसका था ना, ली का था. Hooker का तो दूसरा था. So why would hooker go back to the center of confederate operations? ये factually incorrect होगा. तो ये भी गया. See, देखिए, wounded in body and spirit, Hooker and his diminished forces went back to higher ground where they proceeded to reload their weapons and prepare for. अरे वो हार चुके हैं, अभी कितने बार काउंटर अटैक करेंगे? आंसर इज ई. नॉट वन टू ग्लोट ओवर अ सक्सेस, मतलब जो ब्रैग ना करे, बोस्ट ना करे. ली ली ऐसा था ना, बहुत ही डाउन टू अर्थ टाइप का था. ही रिमार्क दैट द विक्ट्री हैड बीन प्रोडक्ट ऑफ वेलियंट फाइटिंग. वेलियंट इज ब्रेव फाइटिंग. Valiant is brave fighting and good luck as he began to map out strategies for their next move. So the answer is E. All right. Okay. चलिए तो लेट्स. और आप एलिमिनेशन, ई वैसे पूरा ऑप्शन दिख नहीं रहा है, और आप एलिमिनेशन से भी कर सकते थे. ओके. चलिए then let's call it a day for now. Tonight we are not studying at 11 p.m. but we do have plus class at 9 p.m. On YouTube tomorrow we are studying at 2 p.m. again. Alright guys, so abhi ke liye itna hi. Let me just tell you about the Plus and the Iconic subscriptions. In Plus you get live classes, weekly tests, structured courses, unlimited access and study material. In Iconic you get personal guidance, study planner, study material of course, experts guidance, test analysis. These are the price points for Plus. You can use the code SharmaG and get 10% off. If you're a student who wrote CAT last year, got 80 percentile or above, you can use the code SharmaG and get 30% off. These are the price points for Iconic, and it's the same. Use the code SharmaG and get 10 or 30% off depending on whether you are a fresher or a retaker. Alright guys, I'll call it a day for now. You take care. Have a good day. Bye bye.